You've heard the statistics. We millennials are more educated and are earning more money at this point in our lives than the generations before us. Now, here's a new stat. It seems more of us are using that power to see the world. So pack your bags, grab your passport. This is what I wish you knew about getting out of your comfort zone by changing your time zone. Hey everyone, I'm Zeppelin Tillman. Welcome to I Wish You Knew. Back in the day, even traveling around the country could be rough, even life-threatening for African Americans. But it's a different world now, and millennials are taking advantage of opportunities to see it. Here to tell you what they wish you knew are...
Hey, I am Waynika Walls.
Hello, I am Brittany Timmons.
And hello, I am Mahogany.
According to an article in Time magazine, since the 1960s, the growth in education and income for African Americans, combined with the explosion of social media and technology, has led to what some are calling the Black travel movement. Websites devoted to travel are popping up more and more. African Americans are using vacation time to do more than go to grandma's house for the family reunion. So what's up, panel? Are you and your friends going global? If not, what's holding you back?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I know a lot of my friends are yearning and dying to travel. Like, it's become a thing beyond just Miami, beyond just...
Just trying to see the motherland?
Yeah, like I have a friend that her goal is to hit every continent.
Word.
So, and she's what, 25?
Okay.
So for us millennials, that's like crazy for us to be doing that. Cause I know my parents haven't been out the country yet. Yeah. And at first it was a whole
like ever?
Ever. They just did their first cruise maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
But I mean, you know, that's that, not old school, excuse me, but that mindset. You didn't get out much, or if you were traveling, you'll hit Florida, go down south for a while, but nothing major like that.
Yeah, that's definitely like the thought that when people think of Black people traveling, they think of Miami, the Caribbean. That's about as far as we go. I think originally that's kind of where we started, Orlando, that type of thing.
Disney World.
Yeah, for sure. Every year. To the point that you didn't want to go nowhere.
Virginia
that's
Beach.
another one.
But I think we think it costs too much money and we don't prioritize traveling because we're focused on a lot of other things. So I think it's one of them things we look at it as a luxury, so we don't necessarily do it. But I know me and my best friend, every year we go somewhere. We've always tried to like get out and do something, and actually we'll do it with our parents. So he'll go somewhere with his friends, and then he'll also come with me, and then I bring my my mom, my aunts, everybody kind of just does that together for us. So we made it a like tradition.
Yeah, I also think that, social media is huge. You go on your Instagram and you see your friends traveling, they got the nice pictures posted, like it makes it more real. Like more realistic. It's like, oh, I could go there.
Because they went.
Yeah, and you can see it like visually before. And somebody was talking to me about this, that like a lot before traveling was ascribed to kind of like, like a white upper class kind of notion. And I feel like now with a lot of these new movements, we're kind of like breaking that down and being like, yo, we also can like go there as well, which is
That's
very
true
dope.
because millennials, we have a lot of access to information.
Yep.
So we can go search and research and look up things
really
and realize that
cost
this
and
really
see
isn't
it.
this and figure out how to do it.
expensive.
Whereas our parents probably weren't focused on that because they were busy trying to, work that job. They can't miss a day. They can't do this. Whereas now we feel as though we've come into something, we're going to explore. And social media does it because you see the photos. Now you know about this place. Like everybody wants to go to the Maldives, Tahiti, all of those popular places because social media has opened our eyes, to see what's there.
And we see all these bomb pictures getting taken. Like, we're like, where are they? And it makes us go to all these different hashtags and be like, okay, where is this at? And then we want to explore and be like, oh, so we can go there. They're our age. We can all do that. But I definitely feel like even for me, places I've never heard of, because in my household it was like the hometown. That's where everyone focused at, and it was kind of like this is what we knew, so we were comfortable, we were content. But it's like it's so much out there for us to see, and it's a cultural experience.
That's real.
And that's the core of it. You go to have fun, be lit, we turn up, have a good time, but you get a cultural experience from that, from the people who that's their hometown, that's their villages, and you get to experience it. It's about an experience, and we should do more of that.
I would say this too. I know my parents, they're intimidated by it. For a while, it was always like, no, just think, my mother, she would say, imagine just being on a boat with that much water. It was very intimidating. So when I went out of the country, well, obviously, and when I went out of the country for the first time, before even them and before my older brothers, my parents was like Nick Boots. Like, they were like, are you sure? Do you really want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. I went to Thailand.
Okay, word.
And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I done paid my coin now. Like, when you put the money down for the hotels, that's it. And when you blind the ticket, it's locked and loaded. You have no choice. And it also made me feel intimidated. Like, I've had friends that 3 of them went. They just went. And they was backpacking and stuff like that. And they came back. And I'm like, okay, if they can go do this. And I mean, I know things happen, But it was like my parents was really making me feel like it was something I shouldn't do. So I think it's a generational thing then, that they didn't have this energy and this want to go visit these places, and then you have this young child that just is so excited to go, and she's by herself. It's just her and a group of girls. It's like, okay, what's going to happen? It kind of can get put onto their children to kind of fear the world. But us millennials, we're like, no, conquer that joint. Let's go.
But you know what? It's kind of like our parents kind of seeing their young selves in us. Because I feel like at one point, our parents did want to travel. They wanted to see the world. But because of circumstances and how things, they were providers. They needed to provide for us. And now we just like, okay, bye, we eat noodles. Like, we figure it out. Like, that's our mentality. Like, it would just go back to you. Like, I went to the Western Caribbean, and I swim with stingrays.
On purpose?
On purpose.
You know they be killing
so
people.
I'm just keep where they're like, wait, so you about to go swim with stingrays? I'm like, yeah. And I did it. Right there, it's sitting on me. And I told my mother, she almost passed out. She said, you're lying. I'm like, no, it was a fear. It was on my list to do, and I went and faced it. I was the only black girl, but hey, I repped it because I wanted to do it. And that was accomplishment, because I'm like, we always hear like, oh, this could happen, this could happen. Okay, so what if you do it? You know?
Man, that's fantastic. We're going to pause for a moment. When we come back, we have a special guest to tell us how DC is using education to help young people broaden their horizons. Stay with us.
See, I'm with stuff like that, but I have to grow my way. Like, I would have to.
Welcome back to I Wish You Knew. We're talking about millennials and travel, and joining us is Kate Ireland, the founding director of Global Education for DC Public Schools. According to its website, it is the mission of global education to ensure that opportunities to see the world are the expectation for all students. Ms. Ireland, thank you so much for being here. Please tell us a little bit about how global education works to fulfill its mission.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to have a conversation with you. We started global education in DCPS 3.5 years ago because we wanted to make sure that we were preparing all of our students to become active global citizens. We think that's really important if you're going to be successful in college and career and life. It's just really something you need to key in on. And so for us, that means building out world languages for students starting in kindergarten so that when you graduate, you have a really robust language skill set that you can use. It means bringing in partners through programs like embassy adoption programs so that the diplomats here in the city are coming in and meeting with our students, and our students get to go out to the embassies. It means programs like DCPS Study Abroad, which we can talk a lot about here today, which we started just under 2 years ago, which is kind of hard to believe. And it's our fully funded study abroad program for our students in 8th and 11th grade, as well as our students who are in opportunity academies and students who are Certificate 3 students. So we try to be as inclusive as possible, and we're talking about who can travel with us.
What's the biggest difficulty that you have between talking about a group of individuals who may not have even been out of their area and trying to get them to have a global mindset? What does that kind of transitional process look like?
Absolutely. We thought a lot about that when we started to launch this program. And I should mention it's been big. We've sent, in the past 2 years, we've sent over 900 students and educators abroad, fully funded.
Awesome.
Wow.
And we're really focusing on how do we change the narrative around who studies abroad. So exactly what you're talking about today. The majority of our students in DCPS are students of color. I think 82% of our students within our program last year, 91% of our travelers were students of color. And so we're trying to change the narrative because study abroad traditionally has been really female and it's been really white. So we want to make sure that we're developing this culture of travel within our city and within our schools. We engage travel ambassadors at the schools, so it's going to be a teacher that you know who's recruiting you, who's telling you about the program, rather than me going out to all 115 schools and suggesting students study abroad. We're really trying to use sort of the capital that those teachers might have with families and students. We're asking students after they come back from study abroad to develop a project that they can then share with their school community so that they can start to develop a culture of travel within their school. And we've had it's been really interesting. We anticipated that a lot of parents would be really scared, right? It's a lot to send your baby abroad with us. They don't necessarily know us. It's a very new program. We have had such a tremendous outpouring of support. So a good example is this past year, we just closed our application. We have 450 spots this year that we're going to send students abroad in summer 2018. We had over 1,500 applications. Wow. So we can't meet this demand. So building this culture has happened really fast for us, and I think it's because we're really looking to our schools and our students to be that voice.
Yeah. Did you all go out of abroad when you all were in high school?
No, I definitely went to DCPS, and because it started 2 years ago. No. I think though it's so dope because I had the luxury, I'll say, of going to school in 2 different areas. So I did a lot of my schooling in Charles County, which is Maryland, and it really gave me a lot of education. There was a lot of diversity, and then when I came back to DCPS, I graduated and things like that. But I noticed that when I did go to school in Charles County, traveling was something that a lot of my peers did. They traveled abroad, they did a lot of things, and I think it speaks to like your ability to learn and adapt to different things and to go into an environment where you don't know anybody. So I think a program like this is like really dope because these are like basically inner city kids who get to experience something that they probably maybe couldn't afford or someone wouldn't have been able to afford them and the parent. So I think it's so dope that something like this could even exist.
I was going to say it's so wonderful because a lot of us, not us, but a lot of us DC young kids and things like that in our communities, we don't get to see this. Like sometimes even the thought of being able to go anywhere is not even in your reach. You know, like some people some kids haven't even ever been on a plane before and they haven't done this or that. So my beauty in it is being able to allow these kids to have this opportunity that they don't get to see sometimes when they even just walk out their door.
Are the kids apprehensive about it? Or like, are they scared or they're more like excited and ready to go?
It's a mix. It's not all one or all the other. Because a lot of the students that we're taking, they're the first traveler in their family. And I had a parent last year, so we do passports for students too. We pay for the passports. We have a great partnership with state.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, what is the process to get to that step of them actually going and being abroad and studying the culture?
Yeah, and we have to be really mindful of what are the barriers, right? So we want to make sure that we help them get a passport, that's not a barrier. We want to make sure that you don't have to figure out how to get to Dulles or BWI. We're going to send a bus and it's going to meet everybody at a school here so they can just get on that bus.
That's amazing.
If you need a suitcase, if you need hiking boots because you can't get those yourself, then we'll take care of that for you. So we really are fully funded for students, whatever that might mean for them. And each of our students have really different needs. We've also, when you talk about accessibility, we've had students, we had a student who was wheelchair bound who traveled with us last year. We sent a full-time aide with him. We've had a student travel with us who was blind. Students have had a lot of different needs. We've had some students who are transitioning, and so we've had to work with them to figure out how do we change passport pieces because of gender. So we've learned a ton in the past 2 years. But yeah, we try to make sure that we're really thinking about those barriers that come up across the way. I was going to mention with our passports that we had a parent come last year. We have these weekends that we open up. and a parent came up to talk to me and he said, I'm bringing my daughter here. He said, last year brought my other daughter. My older daughter got to travel. This year giving my second daughter her passport. He said, I don't have a passport. I've never been on a plane before. And I'm so excited that they have this opportunity because they're going to walk away. They have a passport in their sock drawer and they have a suitcase in their closet. So then they feel like they are then enabled to travel after this. This is just sort of a jumping off point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, this is amazing. We're talking about travel, but don't head for the airport just yet. There's more ahead. Stay with us.
I just think it's such a beautiful thing. I think this is like
It's really.
Welcome back. We're going global today on I Wish You Knew with some insights from DCPS's Director of Global Education, Kate Ireland. Miss Ireland, like, why don't we know about this? Like, this is fantastic. This is the first time we're hearing about this. Like, hey, I mean, I know it's a new initiative, but like, what are some ways that you all are kind of getting
Getting the word
out?
out. Yeah. So we're new, right?
right.
It is in January. We'll just be 2 years old that we launched that first application.
Amazing.
So it's been like a wild ride for us to really get this out the door. We're also the first and the only ones doing this in the country. There is no other school district that is fully funding K-12 travel for students.
DC, I know, right? DC
Yeah.
Public Schools. I'm proud of you. Oh my God.
That's a round of applause.
Okay.
It speaks to our city's investment in really looking at how do we make sure that our students are going to be ready for the future? How do we make sure we're a global city? How do we make sure that we're really leveraging the global nature of our city, right? That shouldn't just be restricted to where you live in this city. It should be something that every kid has equitable access to. And so study abroad is one really powerful way that we're doing that. We've had some great news stories and we've had some pieces here and there. We also have a evaluation that GW is doing of the program over the long term, and the outcomes are really, really amazing for kids. So they are, and probably all things that sound familiar to you all from your time traveling. Like, so they feel more excited about looking at ways they can work abroad or they can study abroad when they're older. They feel like they have the ability to make more friends and to sort of reimagine what their identity is. You know, it really has you shift how you see yourself when you move to a new culture. And for our students who are traveling there to these different places, sometimes they then become a majority and they may experience something different than they might feel in their own home setting.
I keep hearing you say it's fully funded. I don't know about y'all, but I'm wondering, like, where is this money coming from? Like, this is like 900, like 900 students. Where is this money like coming from in order to?
The first question every school district asks us when they call. So we were really lucky. The first 2 years we were privately funded. DCPS works with a group called DC Public Education Fund, and they exist to fundraise for different DCPS initiatives. So those first 2 years we were funded through those private donations. This year we're locally funded. So this is a district investment. These are local dollars that are making this possible. And that's where it becomes really powerful.
DC is doing some good things, but that's what sucks because you don't hear about all of this all the time. So I think that's really mind-boggling. And I will also say this. You said something about kids being able to find an identity through this. And that plays a major part in the growing of a young person because for some of us, like you don't get the study abroad thing until you get to undergrad. And that's your first opportunity sometime to even travel or go somewhere. But for them to have this at this age, I can only imagine the type of person they're going to become.
Because then at that point you think about what I have to do to be able to do
Continue
this
to
again.
do, yeah.
So
they have more to
work harder.
West undergrad, they're already in that mindset, like, okay, I'm here, and now I want to go to this next step. I've already been here, so where else can I travel and expand my horizons? It's
What's the furthest? What's the furthest place that y'all have seen?
China.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of our trips are connected
Jealous.
to the world languages that we teach. We teach 7 languages in the district.
So what are those? What are they?
The 7 languages, we teach American Sign Language, Arabic, French, Latin, Italian, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese.
So countries, the trips are to countries that those
That would
languages
reflect
are spoken.
those.
Okay, gotcha.
Not all of them are going to work, right? With Latin, we don't have much that we can do with, but we do have a trip that touches Italy, so kids can sort of get that experience.
Gotcha.
But yeah, China is the furthest one that we do. But we go all over. We've gone to 17 countries and taken 40 trips in the past 2 years.
How long is the time frame of the one trip? So when they leave, how long are they going?
They're short trips. They're 8 to 10 days. And it's because it's exactly what you're saying. It's setting that spark so that they're going to be looking afterwards to think, what is the next opportunity? How can I put this on my radar? And 100% of kids who were interviewed by our GW evaluators after they came back, they're looking for their next opportunity to travel. Like, this is setting that spark for them. But we do that first introduction because for most of our kids, it's their first time out of the country, and that's 8 to 10 days is sort of the right amount of time to be away from home for the first time, your parents, and with a group of kids from across the city. These aren't their friends from their school. These might have 10 different high schools reflected in one trip, and that's powerful too, to really, I mean, that's a different type of cross-cultural communication,
What's that feedback been like, you know, for the students when they get back, and how, like, what's their energy like when they go and then when they get back?
They're excited. They're bubbling over. We have this big showcase that we host in September where they all come together and they make projects that demonstrate what they've learned. And it is like just like this beautiful family reunion for them, right? Because they don't all go to the same schools, but they have this opportunity to see each other again. And we see it in the interviews. Like, they're so excited to have had that opportunity. And it's tough too, right? Travel's tough, and there are challenges that they come up with. And we're on the phone all summer helping to navigate those while people are abroad. But I think some of those challenges are worth it too, as all of us have experienced in travel, I'm sure, right? It makes you stronger, and it helps you with some of your self-identity and discovery.
So, like, what are some of the barriers that you would want to say, or like something that has been difficult that you think a community effort or something that could, you know, the people could help change, if any? Like something that's difficult, or like that you will want people to know that.
So we've had a lot of support from parents, as I mentioned. Like, they've been phenomenal. The community has been really supportive. I think what I'd love to see is, are there ways that we can really use the voices of parents of kids who have traveled before, or use parents who have some experience with this to talk to parents who maybe are just stepping to this for the first time. Because we do have some kids that are getting ready to go on that plane, or a kid will get into the program and then their parent finds out that they applied. They had no idea that they applied, and they're not going to let their kid go. And so I think if there are ways that we can start to work on building that culture of travel among our parents more and more, that'll be really helpful. And I think that comes from our community.
But that mindset, that generational thing. They're scared. My baby can't go nowhere. That's what it's like.
So, Kate, what's next? What's next for you all?
So we're expanding the program. First year we sent 380 kids. Last year was 420, and then this summer we'll send 450. We're using local funds for the first time. And right now we just start in the interview stage. So all the students who applied are getting interviews, and then the kiddos will find out in January where they're going and if they were accepted.
Wow. This was such a fantastic conversation, Ms. Kate Ireland. Thank you so much for being here, Director of Global Education for DC Public Schools. To learn more, go to dcpsglobalaid.org. Thanks to you for watching. We'll see you again next time on I Wish You Knew.
I am just in the back.